Assalamu alaikum everybody, and a very warm welcome back to another episode of Arabic Text Time. This is a show that we do here on Wednesdays every single week where we just walk through a little passage of an Arabic text. Sometimes it will be something from a hadith, sometimes from the Quran, sometimes a bit of poetry, sometimes from a story, any kind of text, right? And we'll kind of unpack a little part of it, teaching you loads of vocab and grammar along the way. So this is actually something from Qasas al-Nabiyyin, Stories of the Prophets. This is a really well-known little book for learning Arabic, and it's actually written for children. But as is the case, sometimes the children get the best learning resources, unfortunately. We kind of take away some of the best stuff from adults when people get too big for it, unfortunately. But I don't believe we're too big for it, so let's get into it. So what do we have? So let me put it up on the screen, actually, inshallah, so you guys can watch it. And have a look. So this is from the very beginning of the story in that book of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Not all of the prophets are in that book, like Ibrahim alayhi salam is in there, Hud alayhi salam, Saleh, Yusuf, a few others, alayhim salam. Upon all of them, peace. So let's have a look at this one. So how does it begin? قبل أيام كثيرة جدا كان في قرية رجل مشهور جدا وكان اسم هذا الرجل آزر وكان آزر يبيع الأصنام. So what do we have in this story? قبل أيام كثيرة. قبل means before, okay? Or in this case, really, we could translate it better as ago, right? This is like, this whole little expression here is one of Arabic's ways of saying long, long ago. قبل أيام. أيام means days. It's the plural of يوم. And it's أيام because obviously it's indefinite. We're saying days. We're not saying the days. And because قبل makes the thing after it مجرور. That's why it's أيام كثيرة. كثير means many. Many days ago. But why is kathira in the feminine and in the singular? Well, it's because in Arabic we have this funny little rule whereby non-human plurals get treated as feminine singular. So you don't need to say a plural of kathir like kathirun or kithar or kuthur. Kithar, kathirun, kuthur. I think all of those work actually, all three of them. I think I've seen all of them. Anyway, so we don't need to use one of those plurals. We use the singular in the feminine, which means the feminine in Arabic is incredibly useful. Like it means that, well, it really means that plurals in Arabic are kind of only used for humans. And as in a lot of our language, we're actually not talking about humans a lot of the time. It means it is very useful to just know the feminine singular. You can get by with just using the feminine singular a lot. كثيرة جدا. جدا just means very. Yes, very. كثيرة جدا is kind of just reinforcing the same thing, really, because kathiratin, it really means many, and jiddan means very, like very many. So many days ago, very many. Cool. Kana fi qaryatin. Kana, it really means to be, right? But it has a job of just kind of putting things in the past tense. Often in stories, you'll have kana all over the place. Like, kana is a very sort of descriptive and narrative verb if you're describing something in the past, which is the usual voice in stories. So kana in this case, although it means to be, it can translate nicely here to there was. Fi qaryatin. A qarya means a village. There was in a village. What? A rajulun. Rajul means a man. There was a man, and what about this man? Rajulun mashhurun. He was mashhur. He was famous. He was well known. Jiddan. We've already seen jiddan. It means very. He was very well known. So there was in a village a very famous man, a very well-known man. Good. وَكَانَ اسْمُ هَذَا الرَّجُلِ آزَرَ. And the name of this man was Azara. So we have kana, again, the word at the beginning just means and. This is, waw al-atf. It's the wow of just andness, of coming togetherness. So his name, his ism. Notice there's not a hamzat qata' on there, by the way. It's kana ismu, not kana ismuhu. Because we usually hear ism, we expect it to be like an and a little hamza drawn in ism, but there's not. There's a hamzat wasl on there. So kana ismu hadha al-rajuli. The name of this man was Azara. Good. And what about Azar? What about him? Kana Azaru, what did he do? Yabi'ul asnama. He used to yabi'u. A cool thing about kana is you can just put it before a present tense verb to kind of set the whole thing in the past. It kind of changes the meaning from he sells to he used to sell. It sort of does that. So yeah, so yabiru, I just gave it to you, it means he sells, but because we have kana before it, it means he used to sell. Where do we get yabiru from? Let's kind of unpack it a little bit, because it comes from the verb ba'a, ba alif ain, ba'a, and it is in a category of verbs that we call hollow. What we mean by that is it's not made up of 3 consonants like many verbs in Arabic are. Like, you know, a verb like, we don't have any other verbs in this text, so maybe I can't use one from here, but we have a verb like kataba, meaning he wrote. Kataba, 3 consonants. We have a verb like jalasa, 3 consonants, meaning he sat down. When we have ba'a, we don't have 3 consonants. We don't have 3 consonants. We have 2 consonants and a vowel in the middle. Ba'a. And that's what we call a hollow verb. And, you know, with my students, shout out to Rashid, actually, recent graduate of the Arabic in 60 Steps program. At the end of the program, I remember asking him, or at least in the very later steps, I remember asking him like what the most challenging thing about the whole program was, and he said, without a doubt, hollow verbs. In fact, he actually said to me, numbers were a breeze compared to hollow verbs. Think of that. Like numbers are the way that second-year Arabic students terrify first-year Arabic students. Like numbers, that's what numbers are for in their mind. Like they sound so scary because they've got so many rules to them and stuff. That but actually, in the minds of a lot of students, hollow verbs are kind of funky. It's especially because we do a lot of them in that step. Like that step in the program could really be 2 steps, to be honest. Students on the program who are taking time over step 9, don't worry about it. Give yourself some time for step 9 because hollow verbs are serious business. But anyway, okay, so how do we get yabiru from ba'a? Well, this little elif in the middle, important thing to know about that little elif is that elif actually can't be a root letter of an Arabic word. Elif cannot be a root letter. Yeah and wow can be, but elif can't be a root letter. Really, because it can never be a consonant. I suppose the difference between elif and then wow and yeah is that wow can be a w sound and yeah can be a y sound, not just an oo or an e vowel sound. So anyway, so when we actually see that in the past tense, this elif in the middle is sort of a disguise for what its real root letter is. And in the case of ba'a, it's a disguise for yeah. Yeah, like when we look at it, we can guess really that this hollow verb will behave in one of 2 ways. Like it could be ba'a yabiru, or it could be ba'a yaburu. But just from hearing it a couple of times, it's not yaburu, right? Some verbs do both. Some verbs can do both and have a different meaning in each one, but that's for a different day. But yeah, so you just need to know them on a verb by verb basis. That yeah, ba'a becomes yabiru. Having said that, have a look at this text again. Can you see another hollow verb in there? There is a hollow verb that appears in this text, actually 3 times. It is the verb kana. Those of you might have spotted it. Kana does not go yakinu, like ba'a goes yabiru. Kana becomes yakunu in the present tense, because kana is a hollow verb. A very useful one, actually. Kana is used in the Quran like 1,300 something times in the Quran. It's incredibly, incredibly useful. But anyway, ba'a becomes yabiru in the present tense. Good. So Azar, he used to yabiru, he used to sell al-asnama. Al-asnam is the plural of sanam, and asnam, it means idols. Like pop idol. Not like pop idol, but it means idols as in like the things that people worship. It's something which is ma'bood to the people. The people worship it. It is worshipped by the people. Al-asnam, because it's known in the time of Ibrahim alayhi salam that people used to worship idols. Yes, and that's sort of a rule that you can't really do that in Islam. So cool. That's all we're going to do today, inshallah. You know, at the moment we're kind of already set on this channel with a couple of texts that we're doing longer term, like the Alauddin series and the Surah of Muhammad that we're doing in our Quran with Sam series on Friday. We're kind of already set with those, but I am open-minded to doing a story of the Prophet, like maybe after we finish a certain amount of Alauddin, or maybe when we come to a good chunk of the Surah of Muhammad, then maybe we will return to this, or maybe do the whole story of Ibrahim alayhi salam, or the whole story of another prophet, because we did the whole of the story of Hud alayhi salam on the other channel. Yeah, you guys can go and watch that, by the way, if you want to go and follow along with the whole of the story of Prophet Hud. I think there's about 13 episodes with that, so it's quite a lot. We go through the whole story. Yeah, so yeah, but I'll be open-minded to that. Like if you guys want me to do a whole walkthrough of one of the stories of the prophets, we can absolutely do that, inshallah. But that's enough for today. We'll leave it there. But I hope you guys have an absolutely amazing rest of your week, and I'll see you guys on Friday for our Quran with Sam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.